Targeted by a vicious, relentless and faceless cyberbully, Jasmine Rushby cried herself to sleep every night. With no identity, the bully couldn't be stopped, so Jasmine's parents hired a private eye to find them.
They'll call me like a whore, a bitch, telling me to go commit suicide, and I'm sad and down, and just low self-esteem just went down.
It was a vicious cyberbullying attack that put an outgoing 15-year-old's life into a downward spiral.
Was it affecting your schoolwork as well?
D's on my report, just couldn't concentrate in class, and the teachers would say, "Jasmine, why aren't you working?" And I couldn't tell them. I'm just like, I don't know, and I'd get in trouble.
And Jasmine Rushby's mother, Leanne, felt powerless. It had been going on for nearly 2 weeks by someone disguised by a fake Facebook identity. The signs were distressing.
She wouldn't really say anything. She'd just look at the computer, look at me and just shake her head and go in a room. And I'm just like, I've had enough. I've had enough. It's too much.
Did you cry about it? Did you stay in your room?
Yeah, some nights I cried myself to sleep.
The family swung into action, taking the unusual step of hiring a former federal policeman. They put private investigator Jason King on the case of the mystery bully.
It's usually someone close to him, a school friend or a former friend.
Until recently, bullies have been able to hide deep within the internet. Verbal abuse reaching from the schoolyard to inside the home. And it can become relentless.
Bullies need to understand that it is a criminal act to stalk and harass and threaten another person.
Child psychologist Sandy Ray says the threat on young lives is very real.
The victim needs to not engage with the bully. That's the very first point. The next point is the victim needs to notify their parents or the school. If it continues, they need to notify the social networking site.
And Facebook is being called on to take more responsibility over bullies, especially after news emerged this week from Italy that 14-year-old Carolina Picchio jumped to her death after being bullied on the site. Now, Facebook is under investigation by Italian prosecutors for allowing images to be published that distress the teenager.
Well, because often these images or these words go viral, it escalates across a whole range of populations. And this really impacts on a person's self-esteem, their self-confidence. They get taunted at school.
I was stunned. I was mortified. I couldn't believe that kids would say stuff that they're saying.
Hello, gorgeous boy. The Rushbys, a tight-knit family, thankfully put a stop to this awful episode in Jasmine's life before it went too far. The $300 cost of hiring a private eye was nothing when it came to protecting her.
What I wanted to do was to maybe go see the parents and say, hey, this is what your kid's been up to.
If you take the information to the school, sometimes that's better than taking it to law enforcement because they can sometimes act more appropriately.
Jason of J&D Investigations says he's increasingly being called upon by parents to track online bullies. He spent several days on Jasmine's case and without giving away how he did it, he peeled back the layers to reveal the bully's identity.
The person I found it to be was a local schoolgirl, same area.
He warned her to stop the vile abuse.
I politely said to her through social media that, I know what you're doing, maybe you should, just tone it down and maybe cease because it could go further, it could go to law enforcement.
The family decided against confronting the bully. They felt the job had been done by letting Jasmine's abuser know that she could no longer hide.
And I mean, it could pop up tomorrow. She could have someone inbox her again and I'll do exactly the same thing again.
And Jasmine is urging victims of cyberbullying to stand up and speak out.
So is it still having an impact on you now, Jasmine, even though the private detective made them go away? Is it still affecting you?
Yeah, it is a little bit. Sometimes when I go to town, I see girls and they look at me and I get really scared. So yeah, it does a little bit.
It's tough, isn't it? And if you or anyone you know feels they may be suffering from depression, Lifeline can help.